Okay, we are 6 minutes into it.
All right, are we ready to start?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
I think a lot of people are actually joining via you, becoming a problem because of live streaming issues that we're having. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to update this on the broadcast that I created so that you're able to join us and find the broadcast. Finding the broadcast is terrible.
okay, I think we can start because then we're losing time. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first session of Honest Conversations. Before we even go further, I'd just like to apologize for the delay. We are 8 minutes into it. We promise that next time we will log in 20 minutes before time and test our tech and be all ready. Welcome, Mbali. She's going to be a co-driver with me tonight. My name is Moneeloa, and I am, I wear a lot of hats, but I support families, individuals, and professionals to develop and enhance their emotional intelligence and be effective in their personal effectiveness. Therefore, I journey a lot with parents for the parent-child relationship to parent from emotional intelligent awareness and behavior awareness. I journey with couples and I journey with professionals that would like to develop in their personal effectiveness for their personal growth. Mbali, I'm going to give over to Mbali to introduce herself and introduce some of the guests that will be co-driving with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Moneeloa. Yes, indeed. Good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. This topic is the one topic that is close to my heart. My name is Mbali Ngosi. As Moneeloa has introduced me, I am a life transformation coach. That is my calling. But I'm also a data warehouse developer. I'm a personal trainer. I wear a lot of hats. And on top of that, I am a mother. So this, for me, it's just a way of reparenting myself, not just only parenting my son. It's a platform for me to reparent myself and to also see how can we change the direction of where we are going in terms of our emotional wellness as human beings and also emotional wellness for our men and boys. So yes, thank you for that. And joining us tonight to talk about this is Mesuli Khumalo. Mesuli is a web developer, if I'm not mistaken. We have Mbuso Mtiani. Mbuso is a guy that is passionate about emotional wellness. And we also have Nati on the call, probably going to join us later, who is also passionate about this. These three guys, they are focused in making sure that the emotional wellness of a man or of a boy is also brought to the table. We have seen this, we've seen men taking their lives, we've seen women taking their lives. And what has actually forced us or was a driving factor for us to have this conversation today. Maybe kindly ask everyone who's joining in to please mute yourself so that we can have a smooth conversation and a smooth run of this session. So what has actually been a driving force or a factor for this is how men especially have been denied an opportunity to speak. But we know that we are now past this phase. Houston, we have a problem. The reason why we are having this conversation today is because we want to unpack the reason behind the men cannot express themselves. We are here today because we want to unpack the reason and what is the causing. What is the cause? Actually, what is the driving factor that makes men not be able to express themselves? So yes, I'm going to hand over to Mesuli to just introduce himself, and Mesuli will hand over to Mbuso Mtiane, and then we will start the discussion. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and we hope we are going to engage. You can also engage with us via the chat box. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. Mesuli, over to you.
Okay, I'm just trying to switch on my camera. Okay, evening everyone. Itamo Mesuli, it's Mesuli Kumalo. I'm a graphic designer / web designer. Also a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I've been sober and clean for the past 10 years. So in January, I was actually doing my 10-year milestone. So yeah. So I don't know whether I should, thank you. I don't know whether I should say something on the topic, or is it just
not
me?
Yet. We have not yet opened.
Okay.
Yes, not yet.
All right, great stuff. No, thank you.
Who else? Okay,
Mr. Mtiane, you are live. Then we introduce Mr. Mtiane. Mbuso Mtiane, please introduce yourself, sir.
That's me, that's my name. Thank you so much, Mbali, for inviting me. It's such an honor. And also to meet Moneeloa. Well, my name is Mbuso, as you would have known by now. I am a member of the Gauteng Provincial Youth Committee. So I'm involved in a lot of youth initiatives and activities. I got passionate on mental health and other topics which are related to mental health. I think Mbali will probably elaborate or list them a bit more, but I've held online sessions on mental health, mindfulness, etc. And yeah, it's something that I've fallen in love with. And yeah, we now have a group of youth that are able to come forward and talk about issues, and we are able to refer them to professionals in the different fields. But all of them are inclined with having the right state of mind so that we are able to make amazing, amazing choices for the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mbuso, for that introduction. And I am, I say we are heading in the right direction. There's still a lot to be done, but we are heading in the right direction with the amount of initiatives that are out there. So let's kickstart our conversation for today. So the conversation, the invitation said the cry from a boy child. And like Mbali said, so today I'm honestly hosting, Foundations and Bonds is hosting Mbali, Mesuli, and Mbuso, because it's a subject that is really, really close to Mbali's heart. And when we talked about it, I said, okay, let me host you and you pour out your heart in terms of what is it that you see when it comes to the boy child and your concerns. And it really hit me because I'm raising 2 boys and I've got an older brother. But up until I spoke to Mbali, I was never conscious to the boy, boy girl differentiation. And for me, I'm also acknowledging that because I got introduced to the work that I do very early on in my parenting, maybe I got to avoid or not go into certain aspects of raising a boy, or my perspective got influenced very early on in my parenting journey. So Mbali, I would like you to open up and just share with us your pain when it comes to the boy child and what you've been observing that's really causing this pain to grow bigger and bigger, and you say the course of the river must be redirected.
Thank you so much, Moneeloa. So what I want to start with, I've always had a problem with the statement, a man doesn't cry. To me, I felt like, okay, that is it's the highest insult you can ever say to a man, because what is the point for the tears? I mean, why would God give them tears if they're not supposed to cry? So what's the point? And I believe that God makes no mistakes. So here we are saying a man doesn't cry. What makes it even worse for me, what makes it even more painful for me is the fact that we say this to a 4-year-old, to a 3-year-old, to a 2-year-old. How dare you say a man doesn't cry to a child? Because he's a child, for crying out loud. He doesn't know what is happening. So let me give you a scenario. So if you take a 3-year-old girl child, a 3-year-old boy child, both of them gets hurt in the same way. They will embrace the child and like, oh, my baby, oh, I'm so sorry. The boy child. Now, if a boy child does the same thing, the boy will be told, shut up, a man doesn't cry. Don't cry, you're going to be like a woman. And for me, I feel like, okay, that's not a place, or that's not how you receive a child. So fast forward this to a grown-up man that is going through emotion. He's a human being. He goes through emotions. He goes through hurt. He goes through loss. Even worse, a loss of a parent and loss of a mother, guardian. And this person cannot express themselves because they feel like they're not supposed to cry, because that's what the community says. That's what has been projected to them. And what's even worse is that these people, they get married to women who are emotionally matured. I'm sure most ladies that I hear have heard this conversation or have said this to their men. Grow up, please. Please grow up. You're such a child. Where is it coming from? So for me, that was a trigger to actually ask myself the question, where is this coming from? Where is this grow up? Because I can see maybe you are immature in terms of emotions, because we are here, and when you're in a relationship, you want to have a conversation, you want to have an emotional connection, because that's where the connection starts. So if I'm in a relationship with you and you're unable to talk, which this was an eye-opener for me, I had to go back and ask, where exactly is this problem? So we are busy complaining about the fruit, but what we are not doing is we're not considering the tree, the roots, and the environment, the soil that the tree is growing from. That's when I took a step back and I said, let me see, how is a boy child raised? And then that's where I pick up the problems. That if you shut down a boy, at a 2-year-old boy, at only 2 years, don't expect him to be a man that can tell, that can speak about his emotion. That's where the problem. And for me, Moneeloa, I feel like this is where we start. Well, we cannot change grown-up people. However, we as mothers of the boys can change the direction of which the emotional wellness of a boy child is going, so that when he grows up, he becomes a man that can express himself. The only way for us to be able to face our emotions is through showing them. And there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. Can we allow our men to cry? I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so yes, so I want this to be quite an engaging space, ne? And Mbali, don't eat the elephant all at once, please. So I want us to backtrack, and we've got guys online. And like I say, up until we had the conversation, I was never conscious I've always thought me and my brother were raised the same, you know? And I spoke to him after the conversation with Mbali, and he said, not quite. We grew up in the rural areas, and they would have to go graze the cattle and stuff. And he said, should I lose one, I knew that day I might not even be allowed. I must find a corner somewhere at the back room to sleep, because it will be the most horrible time of my life. I might be even sent back to say, go and look for that lost sheep or goat. Up until you find it, you're not allowed to come back. But if I miss cooking, the worst thing that can happen to me is being slapped, but I'll still get a warm plate, and I would still sleep in my bed, you know? So I would like us, you know, before you can heal you need to also be aware of the root cause, be aware of the mindset that we've been raised in. How do we find ourselves here? How do we find ourselves here? So the guys, can you please maybe let's chip in, and let's not have this from a woman perspective, but from a male perspective, how men are raised. Because like I said, I was oblivious to it, but I'd like you to take this moment and just educate us in terms of how you experience being raised as a boy child.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Moneeloa. Okay, with me, I think because my dad, like my biological father, he passed on when he was, I only met him when I was 21. And then my stepfather, but who I still take as my father. Okay. Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm stuck. My laptop is stuck. But yeah, so I take him as my father. He raised me. He put me through school, because I think when he played a part in my life, or when he came into my life, that was when I was about 4, 5, 6 years old. And I was raised by the corn. That's where I learned a whole lot of things. So he was not somebody who's very emotionally attached, or who taught me certain things, as I was growing up. So everything that I learned, everything that I did was from a street corner. And it's the conversations that we have as guys at the corner, that made me the guy that I am, or that I became. Hence,
I think we lost him. Mbuso, are you ready to pick it up?
When you call my name, I'm jumping to press the mute button. I'm pressing other things. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think the last speaker, Ubud Kumal, he was talking about his experiences, and it's probably something that is very important to tap into. As you had said, what could have caused, what could have brought us to where it is that we are right now. But it got me thinking that probably, let me take a step back and probably talk about a little bit of a dark side in my upbringing. Not really dark for some, but I remember watching Oprah. I was an avid fan of Oprah, because I liked the topics that she covered on his show. And I remember she was hosting fathers that day, and there were a lot of fathers talking about raising kids, etc. And she said something profound that stuck to me till today. And she said, I think the topic or the name of the show that day was, I have a hole in my heart in the shape of my father. And it stuck with me because luckily I knew my father, but he was not there to raise me. He was not there to guide me. He was not there to say, how are you doing? Are you fine? No, don't do this like this. Try it this way. Or you did well here. So I experienced fatherhood from other men, like my uncles and my neighbors, etc. But I yearned for that fatherly love, which I did not know what it was or how it felt like. But I wish I had it, or I wish I knew its experience, because obviously when you grow up as a kid, there's kids who have their fathers, they're going on holidays, they're doing this with their dads and stuff, but you can't do that because your father is not there. So I remember writing a letter And I actually said that I wish my dad is equal to the name Dad, which is D-E-A-D, because to me, he is dead. And I thought that was something that probably was hidden deep inside of me that I really wanted to get out. And I was able to do that through writing it down. But for me, it has made me aware that it should not be something that then holds me back as a man today, or as someone who was growing up, because, you know, I've learned that with the information that you have, that is what it is that you will give to your kids. So he did not know any better. So that was what he knew at the time. And therefore, I was able to forgive him. And I was able to say, hey, who am I? And what it is that I want to pursue in life, with or without a father, or without my father. Yeah.
So exactly. So where we need to first acknowledge as a nation that our family setup on its own is problematic. We are raised in mostly female-headed household, and those female-headed households never had fathers in them. So the father void in our society is big. So that's one. The structure of our families, the way our families are structured, is problematic. That's number one. Number two is that legacy, where we come from, right? I think as a country, where we come from, it was such a hostile environment that really our parents did not have availability to anything else but Tina. Just be strong. They were raised to be able to withstand the environment, the hostile environment of our legacy of apartheid. And therefore, like Mboso says, you can only pass on what you have, right? You can only pass on what you have. But from today's conversation and what brought us here is it's no longer working. And the evidence around us is it's not working. It's not working. Our society is breaking down. People are breaking down, whether in silence or in public. Individuals, men especially, are breaking down. And also, there's another legacy that we got created of when we got into liberation. There's freedom. We have access to resources. The girl child was so elevated, and the spotlight was so put on the girl child that we forgot. We left behind the boy child, right? We left behind the boy child. And those are the legacies, that are creating the problem that we are sitting in right now for us. And Mbali, I want you to switch on, would you please switch on your mic? Technology today, guys, it's playing cards with us. So So when I had a conversation with Mbali, she said, we need to realize that our initiatives are no longer serving the generation, and that's where I wanted you to come in.
Cool, I'm here.
Yeah, so I wanted you to pick up on that, just your reflection of those legacies, and in our effort to bridge the gap between male and female, we left our boys behind. Therefore, our boys, in terms of empowerment, in terms of the programs that Mboso is talking about, they're only kicking in now. But from legacy, from history, the boys were really left behind. And you said something about the generation no longer being served.
Yeah, Sorry, I think we are having a serious connection problem here. However, Moneeloa, please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me properly and I can continue. Thank you very much. So what I have noticed is that there's just a couple of factors. And for me, it's during when I did my analysis, just trying to find out what exactly is the problem with our men. So it's not that our men are alcoholic. Let's get that out of the way. There's a difference between someone who's an addict and someone who's using alcohol or drugs to numb the pain, which is what most men are doing, including women as well. But today we're focusing on men. So what I've noticed that there are two fears that a man has. One is a fear of being inadequate, meaning he's scared that he's not going to live up to the standard. That's one. The second fear that a man has is the fear of being controlled by a woman. So I had to ask myself, where are those coming from? Now, let's look at the way we were brought up. We're brought up from a system that says, look, yeah, survive this. You have to survive. Do what needs to be done. So as a result, our parents were not as present, like you've mentioned, Moneeloa, our parents were not as present, even the careers that we're in now. We don't understand them. We're not taking careers that we are actually smart at. We are taking careers because, hey, this pays. Some people are lawyers, not because they want to be lawyers, not because they love talking. I mean, that's for me, obviously, I love talking. But some people are lawyers, but because at that time, what was paying was being a lawyer. Some people are in IT. Why? Because in the 80s babies, most of them are IT specialists because IT at that time became the in thing. But had our parents had an opportunity to be with us, to know us, to understand us, and also pick up those things, because as a child, your gift, you can see your gift at a very young age, and they can nurture that, because as a parent, your duty is to nurture. Now, that's one aspect of it. Now, let's talk about the second part where a man is afraid of being controlled by a woman. Why are men afraid of being controlled by a woman? And why, when a woman says we need to talk, this scares them? Men, you can throw your fires now, ready, get your guns ready and shoot at me. The reason why most men get frightened to death when a woman says we need to talk, because this reminds them of a childhood trauma that they are mothers, especially. The words that us as mothers use to our kids, it's what caused the problem. Caused the problem today. The society, the men that will deprive of motherly love. All they know is a man, and all they just learn nothing except for, as a man, you need to bully a woman. And also, if you look if you look at the weddings, you look at anything that involves bringing together a man and a woman, you'll notice that every time it's only a woman that's being given the guidance. Hey, in a marriage, in a wedding, they always focus on a woman. What about a man? This man is supposed to go and build a home. This man is supposed to go and be a leader of a home. But we are not focusing on that. Instead, we are focusing on this thing. Instead, we are focusing on this thing that a man is entitled to a certain kind of treatment in a marriage. And I'm saying, whose man? Not mine. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, not mine. Not mine, because when we say the become one, meaning you and I become equal and we do things equally. So what had me there unconditionally, and provided he brings something to the table. Now that is a very terrible thing. So as much as we are putting a
Okay, guys, I'd like this to be engaging and to be an alive room. There's only so much that we are in Mbali between the two of us can talk about. So I'd like you guys to engage. And if you can switch on your camera and raise your hands. I'll go through the room and check where there's hands, but I'd like you to engage, right? So there's no doubt. I mean, I saw it, what was his agenda when we started, and we talked about the emotions of the boy child. that they are not taken into consideration. I asked my helper, she's raising 3 girls and a boy, right? Philip, I've noted you, I'll come to you just now. And I said to her, I said, this is the topic today. How do you do it with your boy child? And she acknowledges, she said, yes, I do raise him differently. I don't give him as much airtime in terms of closeness as the girls, right? I would say, no, I'm sleeping with the girl, and he'll ask, why are you always sleeping with the girl? And she'd be like, okay, because it's a boy, you know? So she acknowledges it. She acknowledged it fully. And she said, I don't know why I do it, which was quite interesting. And she said, actually, I don't know why I don't do it. And I've never thought of it being right or wrong up until now that we're having this conversation. Phillips, you had something to say?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I was invited by my sister, Colleen Ranzu. This is a very fruitful conversation. Unfortunately, I won't be able to switch on my video at the moment. I want to agree with what Mbali was just saying, to say the 2 fears that a man has. Number 1 is fear of being inadequate. As men, we are afraid of being inadequate in so many ways. You can be inadequate as a father, you can be inadequate as a man to your woman. You know, sometimes we go through financial challenges where you're not able to provide for your family, and the fear of not being able to give your children what they need, or the fear of not being able to send your children to the schools where to the right schools, it's just so much for men. And most of the times we are not able to get a voice where we are able to actually open up and speak to someone about this. Because as we grow up as men, nobody really gets to sit down with us the way that mothers sit down with girl children and give them guidance to say, in life, this is what you go through, and this is how you ought to look at things, or this is how you ought to deal with things. We just go through life, and we just experience life by looking at what is happening with other boys around us, or what is happening with other men in society. So that's what creates so much inadequacy around men, is that we are not getting the education that we really need around life. Then secondly, she mentioned that the second fear of a man is the fear of being controlled by a woman. Obviously, when you start, society has taught us to say the man is a provider. The man, there's this macho aspect of being a man, where when you are in a relationship, you want to be the one in control. You want to be the one giving direction. You want to be the one with the final say on how things ought to be done within the family setup. So now society has evolved in so many ways, because we are getting, if we go to school, we are getting exactly the same education with the girl child. Whereas before, the girl child was sort of disadvantaged and didn't manage to be put in the spotlight. So now you are in a home, your wife has got a degree, you also has a degree, or sometimes you don't even have a degree. And your wife is more intelligent, or she knows better in certain aspects which can help the family. But that main aspect which you got from the society, where you must have the final say, it fools you as a man. It makes you as a man to actually want to push the family in the wrong direction. So there is so much a gap between how the society has evolved and how society used to be, you know, and the reality that we as men are actually facing today. And there's actually no one guiding us or helping us or showing us the way. There's no platforms like this one. I'm actually thankful that there's a platform like this one where we can actually be able to talk and listen to other people and get to understand things in a better way. So I think I just wanted to confirm what Mbali was saying, that this is 100% correct. I don't know Mbali. We have not spoken before, but she is actually speaking to me right now and getting me to confirm what is really happening in my life.
Yeah. So not being taught, we are not taught. There's an insert that I did last week, that we're not taught. We are told we need to shift in our perspective. We need to shift how we do things. But we're not taught. We are not taught. We expect men to be resilient and all of it, but they're not taught. So I would like this conversation to move forward, guys. So what we are basically saying is it's no longer enough. It's no longer equal but different societal roles. Okay, so it's no longer enough, and it's no longer empowering parents to say to a boy child, don't cry, you have to be a man. Don't cry, you have to be strong. No, the kids must cry. The kids must cry. And another one is when a child, as I'm speaking with my helper, she says, when he comes back from school and he says, someone hit me. And I'd ask him, then when I went in, what did you do? No, I didn't do anything. You must be a man, you must go back and hit them. So the first turning point that we need to look at is how we parent, is in the parenting style, right? So first of all, we need to empower and develop their emotional intelligence and their resilience muscle. And we start by listening to them. Start by listening to them. Yes, goodness says we should allow them to be themselves so that they can open up in all situations. Allow kids to be themselves, and it starts by listening to the child. Stop and listen to what the child is saying, right? And listening, it's a learned skill. It's not just I've got my ears open, but there is a way of listening where the child feels understood, the child feels heard, and they don't feel judged. Right now, as a child, and I'm coming and I say, I am hurt, I got hurt, and you tell me, it's okay, be strong. Then we say, we're not listening to the child. We are judging the child, and next time they will not come and say, I'm hurt. Next time they will not come and say, someone bullied me, because I'm expected to stand up for myself, but I don't know how to. And I don't want to look weak, and I don't want to be a sissy. So first, we need to change our perspective in how we parent. And the truth, parents, is that we can't give what we don't have. We have never been taught these skills. So we need to stop this behavior of parenting can't be taught. We must go back to classrooms when it comes to parenting so that we can learn these skills. So Mbali, your hand has been up for a while.
Thank you very much, Moneeloa. I'll allow
Zanele, I'll come to you. Askis Mbali, Zanele, I'll come to you. Who else was there? Okay.
So I actually wanted to allow Zanele. Cool. So I'll go. Indeed, Moneeloa, the experience that I had this week. So with my son is 5, he's turning 6. I'm teaching my son to be. Again, when he comes from outside, from playing with his friends, when he comes to me, I stop whatever I'm doing and I'm listening to him because I want him to also listen and to know that listening is a skill. So we started at a young age. So ngesizulu sithi ligotshwa lisemanzi, right? That's one part. The other thing that happened this week was, so usually when I take him to school, I would walk him from the gate, I walk him inside the schoolyard, then by the door to the classrooms, I would say my goodbye, then go back. So he said this on Monday that as from tomorrow, no walking me. I felt like a bad parent. I asked a lot of questions to myself, like, okay, wait, what did I do? Was I not wearing properly? That's what he said. He said he doesn't like my clothes. So I'm like, okay, that's good. You're paying attention to presentation, but now you're at the wrong place. Okay. So when he said that, on our way to school, he reminds me, remember, you're not supposed to walk me. You're just going to turn by the gate. We get to the school gate and I stand there by the gate and I hold on to the fence. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stand here, bye. On my way back home, I said to myself, why am I feeling like this? Yes, as much as I want my son to know what love is, because a mother is a child's first love, especially a boy. It's a child's first love. What is so difficult for me to not listen to him? And then I remembered that what am I trying to teach him? Boundaries. Where is he going to learn the boundaries? From me. If he says to me, look, I'm okay with this effect on him, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants to do. When I say whatever he wants to do, if he says to me, don't walk me, I have to respect that as a mother, because that's where it starts. I have to respect that as a mother so that he knows that in life there is a no. In love, there are boundaries, and he's okay to set boundaries. It's okay, you are allowed. The other thing, like you said, Moneeloa, is that we need to listen to them. Yes, and goodness said we need to allow them to be there. Allow your child to develop themselves. Don't try and live your life through your child. I'm not a extrovert person. I'm not a crowd person. But if I pick up that my son loves going outside, he loves being outdoors, that doesn't mean I should force him to read the books that I'm reading. I can encourage him, but also allow him to grow, because we are smart in different ways. Allowing your child to become who they are, it means you are nurturing the way they are smart, because we don't think the same. You and I, Moneeloa, think by talking. There are people here who think by doing. There are people here who think by playing music, and those are different smarts that we have. And should we as parents take the time to look and monitor those things and be aware of them, you will see a big difference and a shift in perspective in our nation and in our society. Thank you.
Let's take Zanele.
Evening, guys.
Good evening, Zanele.
Gosh, when I saw this topic, like a lot was going through my mind. I do agree, firstly, this thing starts at an early age. I'm going to give you guys a few examples as I go along. Firstly, I've got a nephew, right? And he is like one of those very loving kids. You know, he'll come and hug you, he'll kiss you, he shows a lot of affection. But you'll sit on the couch and he'll come and lie next to you and rub your thigh, that kind of a child. And he's only 4. Then you get my older brother, and then he's like, hey, Moneeloa gay, don't do that, don't do this. Why you like this, or this child mustn't do this? So this thing starts from a very young age. And now I'm worried, because if he does listen to other guys or men telling him such things, at some point he's going to stop being that kind of affectionate child. And is what results in the kind of men that we have, which end up committing suicide because they cannot show affection or their feelings, because it starts at a young age. He's now going to have to suppress his feelings because he's scared they're going to say this, I'm going to be like this, or men don't do this, which I think is very wrong. So yes, it is society, and it starts with us. We need to change this thing, because when at that age, he's definitely at some point he's going to start suppressing his feelings, which worries me big time. And so the other thing that came to mind is Mbali posted something some time ago about Riki. Yo guys, that thing hit me. Like, I actually personally feel us as women are not showing our men enough love. I don't think we're loving them enough, guys. Like, we do have this thing, we expect so much from them. We expect them not to cry. We expect them to make everything happen, but at the end of the day, they're humans. They also have that baby element in them, which we're not allowing them to express. So it's so difficult, guys. Like, the other example I can give is like with my dad. When he lost his father, my grandfather, you know, I never even asked once, how are you dealing with this? Are you okay? I never did. And guess what? I now lost my father, and I can cry for a week. It's been a year later and I can still cry. But I never once asked that man how he was doing. I can cry for so long. How about men? Do we ever consider their feelings and how they're taking situations? But we don't, because we don't expect that from them. I don't even expect them to say, oh, I'm going through a lot. Like, what is that? you know, but it's true. He does. He's human. What we go through, they also go through. So I really do feel us as women as well, we need to just open up and let them be babies, guys. They do have that baby element in them, and we need to allow them to.
Exactly. You know, Zanele, Tatenda, I'm coming to you right now. That reminds me of, you know, years back, I facilitated a daily check-in thing. And one of the examples were, reach out to a man, any man in your life, and acknowledge them. You know, acknowledge that man. And I reached out to the men, the male cousins in my family, and I got to realize that some of them have never heard a thank you in their life, and yet they work very hard. They work so hard for their families. There's some that, you know, they're extending themselves so much and taking care of even the extended, but they've never heard a thank you. I see you. So we need to, you know, and it takes a level of awareness, guys. So we need to really shift and be aware and be conscious as people in our everyday consciousness. It's a shift. Benjamin said it's a healing process. So there is a whole lot that needs to happen in our being able to shift this down and increase our awareness every day, that when we communicate with each other, when we communicate with our boys, I see it in the parenting practice that some of the problems is that the only time that I ever get to talk with my child is when things are not going well or when I'm giving instruction, but never when I'm appreciating and acknowledging them as a person that I see. Tatenda?
Hi. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It is an honor and a privilege. I am Tatenda, everyone, and I am 20 years old this year. So I think it'd be really good to hear from my generation's perspective. I really like that last comment you said about how the youth, we never really hear that we're appreciated as a person, that our feelings, and rather, let me say, as men or boys, we're not really appreciated as being a person, or even hearing a thank you for thank you for the love that you give, the kindness that you have. I think the one thing that I've faced in my life is not being heard. That thing of boundaries, when you say don't do this, I kind of grew up with a sense of not knowing, not being able to say don't do this to my parents, because I wouldn't be able to set a boundary to them, but they would always set boundaries to me. And I think for me personally, I believe that a parent should bring you to their level, because a kid can't take themselves there. Because if a child takes themselves to that level, it can come off as disrespectful. So a parent has to lift up a child, and it's always don't do what I do, but do as I say. But the unfortunate thing about children, and especially boys, is that the boy will do exactly what you do. In anything that you do, if he sees it, if he's seen you do it, he will do it. And that kind of links in with this next point of mine, which is I kind of believe that boys have a kind of sense to want to listen to something, and when I say listen to something, I mean obey it. They want to follow someone or something and do the things that they're doing. So if a child has no father figure, then they find a father figure in something else. whether it be their friends, whether it be their family, whether it be TV shows, games, whatever it may be, they will find something that they can listen to, and it will give them morals. It will give them a governing, what can I say, constitution or whatever the word is. But yeah, that's just how men were created as well by God. You know, we want to listen. And it's unfortunate that when we find we're listening to the wrong things, then now it can cause negative effects on us, because we're never taught to be gentle. We're never taught to be kind. We're never taught to be sweet, you know. It's like that's all air quote feminine things. And to me, that's literally me. Like, I'm a kind of gentle person. And I can't imagine myself any other ways. But we're always boys will be boys, being rough and being tough and holding their emotions back. And it's like, that's not it. I've been learning so many things from even my friends that I met many years ago, and how they are inside, they're breaking and they don't know how to open up. And like they're opening up for the first time. And it's like, that's crazy. And it shouldn't be like that. Because you sit down with girls and you say, how are you doing? What have you been up to? What are you thinking about? What's in your heart? And a guy, I don't think I've ever really heard, like, sat down with someone, maybe I have, but I forgot, but not many occurrences where someone actually said, you know, what is going on with you in your space. Because I think another thing about guys is that if you don't listen to them, they won't open up to you.
Exactly. Thank you,
Like,
Tatenda. It's all about it's all about a relationship, like you say. If you don't open up to them, they won't talk to you. So the basis of any relationship is connection. It's connection, guys. So as parents, and right now we're going to be hammering on parents, not even hammering, but speaking more to parents, because that's where we need, that's the only place where we have a chance for this river to take a different direction. The biggest impact for us to change how things are in our community, in our society, in our families, is through how we parent and how we then shift our perspective as parents, how we speak into them and how we speak to them, right? And we must realize that for us to have any kind of influence, for us to have any kind of relationship with our kids, it needs to start with connection. And connection is something that you work on. It's not something that happens automatically. I like what Tatenda said. When you say, what is happening for me, it's called a check-in. And make it part of life, an everyday part of life, that you check in with your child. In the morning, how are you doing? And it's not, how are you doing? I'm okay. No, what is happening with you? What is happening in your heart? What is happening in your mind? What are you thinking about today? What took a lot of your thinking today? How are you feeling in your emotions? Those are check-ins. So we can start small there by just checking in, making checking in a way of life in our homes. Mbuso?
Hello, thank you so much. It was very good to hear from someone in the much younger generation expressing themselves. Yeah, so that generation is what do they call it? Woke. Or the woke generation. So I wanted to acknowledge. I think we need to acknowledge the fact that our parents or that generation parented in a way that they knew how to parent. Right? Okay, which is fine. So let's move from that. I think the problem now is that there is societal pressures, and our way of parenting might not be aligned with the pressures of today. Okay, let's acknowledge that. But let's also realize that being exposed to these multiracial schools being able to afford living in multiracial neighborhoods, working with different cultures and different races, has really exposed us to other things that we weren't aware of as Black people, for example. We now are able to even talk about nurturing, just as Mbali kept on mentioning nurturing, because we're now exposed to these kinds of bringing up. We were, you would remember, corporal punishment was stopped at schools, and there was a lot of reaction from parents in neighborhoods. Is it their child? No, the government should raise you then. I mustn't hit you because you are Mandela's child or you're the government. Remember that, yeah, it was those kind of feedback that we got from parents in schools. Or would say, now I'm not supposed to hit my child, because that was the bringing up that we were exposed to. If you do something wrong, you get a spanking, and then you're supposed to be okay the next day. So today, yes, the roles really have changed. Women now are CEOs. Women now drive the fanciest cars. Women now want to achieve as much as men did achieve then, because of the opportunities that men had then. But now there's new pressures. Men need to aspire. Men need to meet the expectation of the today woman, because the today woman is different from the woman that was then, or the woman then. So the demands are much different. So the pressures to men are far more. I think the first gentleman that spoke did mention about pressures that now men have. They have to have the right job. Not even the right job. After the right job, they have to have a side hustle, because the pressure is a salary is not enough. So you have to have something else in order to support the family. After having the side hustle, you need to put the kids in the right school. That's pressure. You need holiday. The wife wants a holiday with the family. So it's new pressures. The pressures have always been there in the past, but now it's new pressures, and all these pressures today demand you to have more money. Women now, or dating now, means that you have to plan a holiday in Dubai. They want to go to Dubai. So it's those kind of pressures. Yes, it's important to find out. I like what Utatenda did mention, and you also mentioned that finding out how are you, asking that how are you. Remember, what I've seen is that we sometimes ask how you are, how are you in passing. We don't really wait and look at a person's response and hear it really, especially if a person says, oh, I'm okay, then you pass and you go on your way. But finding out and stopping and saying, how are you, and actually stopping and listening. I think that's important. Thanks.
Thanks, Mbuso. Mesili, I'm going to come to you now. So I like what you know, touching on the pressures, ne Mbuso. That also takes us to an avenue of, I'm in the self-development field. Mbuso also mentioned that in his introduction. And I can tell you guys, most of the time, I'm the only Black person in the room. 100% or 99% of the time, I am the only Black person in the room. So there's a lot of things that we need to start shifting into as people of color or as Black people. We need to start normalizing personal self-development, going on a personal journey, a journey of self-awareness and self-assertiveness. Because when you are on that journey and you are so aware of who you are, and you define your own identity, your own values, your own roots, and your own foundation, then we'll start being able to stand against these pressures, to know that I don't need to go to, I was saying to my husband the other day, I'm not faced by the coffee culture, because I realized now I love fun. I love having fun, but my kind of fun is different. I'd rather go on holiday and go and have fun there and pop bottles on holiday than dressing up and going to coffee and, you know, having lashes on and all. That's not my kind. And because I'm so asserted in who I am, pressure does not do anything to me anymore. Most especially.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss.
Yeah, no problem.
You wanted to say something. Sorry, Miss Mbusa, you wanted to say something.
No, Masuli can go on. I'll come back probably later on.
Okay, Masuli.
All right, yeah, no. Moneeloa, yeah, you know what you just touched on now at the end, it's something that I'm grateful for myself, and I have been blessed to go on this journey of recovery. Because what you speak about, personal development, it's something that I'd had to do for the past 10 years. I'm a father of a 9-year-old son, a 9-year-old boy. And his first year I never saw, because 2011, that's the year that he was born. And that's where a lot of things went, like, that's when I hit my rock bottom, you know. And when I started on this journey of self-discovery and me saying enough is enough and I want to change, that was divine intervention, firstly, you know. That's hence I'm saying I was blessed, because I started to know what love is when I started my road to recovery. I had to go on a deep, deep, deep self-introspection. And divine intervention again comes in a space where I was amongst people that went through what I went through. I went out to seek help. And in most cases, you know, I would deal with guys that have been sent by their employer, or they're about to lose their wife. And the one thing that I always tell them is that what you're gonna hear, because I'm part of a fellowship, like I said, I'm part of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm not ashamed. I am really not ashamed of saying that. I carry it with me. It's even in my employer's books, you know, and I always tell them that you do not have to do it for anyone else but yourself. You know, because it's your journey. It's your journey. And I had to learn why I did the things that I did. I had to start a journey of healing me, Umesuli. And I learned how to love with my son. Hence, we had that bond. Hence, we have that bond, even till this day. I've never raised my hand to my son. I always do those check-ins with him on anything that he goes through. Or when I go and pick him up, either we're in the car or we're sitting, I always call him. And I know he feels uncomfortable sometimes, but I try my level best, you know, just to find out how he's doing. He loves his cousin. And it's a boy child also. He's 8. And every time something happens and he starts crying, my son starts crying, I never say, "Uyambona ulusha kakhali." I never say those things, because those were the things that I was raised with. And it's the things that amongst our community that we were raised on. You know, they used to compare me a lot to that guy, to a friend of mine who always used to pass in class. You know, and like it's the bond that I have with him, it's something that I can't explain. Hence, I always reiterate divine intervention. You know, I had to change me for me to live with everyone else around me. So it always starts with healing. Yes, I'm not 100% right now. You know, there's things that I would do, and I would apologize to my son for doing whatever it is that I did. You know, there's things that I'm grateful that he did not witness the things that I used to do, you know, and not become who I became back then, you know. And yeah, it's something that has been basically the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous did something for me that I couldn't do for myself, because the guy who was my sponsor, he was my father. He was hard on me. There were things that I did that I didn't understand what I was doing, but he knew exactly what he was doing, because he built me to be the man that I am today. I'm alive today because of him. You know, that's another man. So there's values that I learned. There's things that I learned in that space where I had to, there's what we call the 12 steps. And it starts from 1, you can't skip anyone until 12. And all those steps taught me who Mesuli is. And today, I'm able to have relationships with people. I'm able to say, I'm sorry. I'm like the basics. It was like I was reborn. What they say in church, to being reborn. I was reborn. You know, I became a new me, and how to live with society again. That's what it taught me, on how to live on life's terms. You know, and what my son is going to become, I don't know. But all I know is that I'm doing the best that I can with the time that I have with him, in the space that I have while I'm still alive. You know, sorry to take long. And also with the part of crying, I learned on how to get in touch with that part. I cry. Guys, I cry. Mbali, I was retrenched in 2019 at Momentum. Oh man, I missed the company. I cried. I cried. The person that I was with at that time did not understand. She wanted me to be strong, but I did not do it for her, because I was feeling what I was feeling. I had to express what I was expressing, because we know what happens out there with other guys that unfortunately never sought help on the problems that they have, or that never went through the journey of self-discovery and knowing who they are. You know, even in recovery, I met someone and we went to a meeting, an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I wanted her to experience the whole thing. And I was going through a lot. I had lost a job again at that time. I expressed myself in that meeting. I cried amongst people. In the car on our way back, she's on some, you're embarrassing me. What is it that you did out there? Why are you crying now in front of people? You know what I mean? And I just laughed. You know, it hurt, but I laughed, because I know what's good for me. You know, because there was a lot of things that I bottled within me, that my outlet was just alcohol and drugs. That's all that I lived on. You know, that was my outlet. That's the only way that I knew how to suppress things and how to cope with the world. You know, and yeah, man, it's just been something amazing. And it's points that guys in the chat have been writing about, where the healing, guys, the healing in every issue that we are facing in South Africa. If each person can go on that journey, trust me, we will not go head on head with women, with what's happening on the GBV side. If people start healing from both ends. Yes, there's a lot of layers that we need to take care of. A lot of layers that we need to take care of. But it always starts with me. You know, it always starts with me. Hence I'm saying it's not perfection, but it's just progress. Not perfect. We're not aiming for perfection. It's just progress. No. One day at a time.
It's a foundation, Mesuli. I say, you know, me being on the path of conscious parenting and gentle parenting, and dedicating my life to supporting parents to shift the perspective and lay a different foundation, doesn't mean that we will get it 100%. No.
Yeah.
But if we can shift it 60% for our kids, 60% or above, we would have done a great job. You know what I mean? And I really love what you're doing. It's a foundation for your son. And it takes me to the word that says, if there's any change you wish to see in anybody else, it needs to start with you. If there's any shift we need to start seeing in the boy child, in our men, it needs to start with us women. Give them the space, allow them. What we allow in ourselves, we allow in other. How we hold space. So as people that are journeying with boys, as people that are journeying with men, we need to also be taught how to hold space for a man. You're not embarrassing me when you're crying. My job as a person that is with you to hold space for you is to sit and be quiet and let you be in that moment. Be in full acceptance of what you're going through, right? So there's a lot of things that we need to learn and relearn, but it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. So first, from this chat, if we've learned that we need to check in. Secondly, lay that foundation. Busa has said so much. The journey of self-development, self-healing, self-awareness. You know, we need to hold space, learn how to hold space. And holding space is just being silent in somebody else's emotions. And that also tells you a lot about, are you comfortable to sit with your own emotions? If you're not able to sit with somebody else's emotions, then it's also, you know, it's a development on your side to say, I need to learn to sit with my own emotions. Mark, you had something to say.
Hi, Moneeloa, and hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, for inviting me to this. I think it's really powerful that you guys are initiating these conversations, and it's really great to see the participation as well. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I think Mickey might have had his or her hand up first.
You had your hand up first.
Okay.
I was checking. Yeah.
So I was reading the comments, and thanks to Masuli for sharing his story. I was going to say, and you know, you guys are very right. Each one touched on something that was really important. So, you know, I take from everyone's comments here, it does start from the basics. Parenting styles need to change. And if you really look at some of the problems or the issues we're facing right now, a lot of it is, yes, what society labels a man and how he should be, you know, he's not supposed to cry and all of those things. But a lot of it, if we look at who we are right now, we are a product of our upbringing and how our parents grew us up. And I see Langavi, I loved his comment about the absent fathers. And unfortunately for majority of the males, and I think most of the males that are in this chat can actually attest to this, perhaps we were brought up with absent fathers, or either that, or our fathers were present, but they have let us down in many ways, either by their behavior or the way that they treated our moms, and most of the males, I believe, grew up watching their dads. Maybe they didn't have very good role models of a male. And deep down inside, we determined, I'm not going to become like that man. And often moms raise their kids to make them 180 degrees opposite to what their dads were. And that is something men grow up with, trying their best not to be like what their dad was. And so you're often fighting that battle as a male. Whenever you find tendencies or you see a reaction come out of you as you grow up and mature as a man, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be like my dad. So you fight that. It's like an internal battle. And oftentimes you then grow up wanting to always please your mom or the women figures in your life. And so I'm listening to this. There's like two parts to this conversation. One is men must be allowed to express themselves and cry and, you know, be nurtured. And if I'm listening, I'm seeing this is coming from a woman, from yourself and Mbali, and you're sharing this because you'll want to be there for the man and you want to encourage him to, you know, to be and be emotional as well. But society has labeled the man and taught him not to be that way. But I think what I'm trying to say is, and I've listened to different people, what I liked about Masuli's discussion, his last conversation he had, he said that he spends the time with his son. And even when his son feels uncomfortable, he still shares that love with him, and he makes an effort to bond with him. That is very important. So Masuli, you've already started to change the patterns of the relationships we used to have with our dads. It was uncomfortable when a male has to bond with his father. It's not very common. I looked at the audience and I heard Moneeloa say she's 99% the only Black person in the room. I guess I'm the 1% that's making it different. It's when I look around us, there's predominantly, I don't see any European or white people in this conversation. But I want this. I know we're not looking at color, neither are we racist or anything like that, but there's something we can learn. And I want to share this with our non-white people that's in this conversation, our Black brothers and sisters. Look at the white boys. They go hunting with their dads. They go fishing. They go river rafting. They're doing hobbies with their fathers. And if you look at them today, they become like these balanced, well-rounded people. They can interact with women, men. They have confidence of their own. They build up these things. Black men, unfortunately, hardly get those opportunities where you're fixing a car with your dad, painting the walls, painting a fence, or just having that male companionship that will create a balance in your life. And that is something we need to start changing. So I think even I like hearing from our millennial, Tatenda. Thank you for sharing your story. And Tatenda's touched on something. He says, kids look for something, or they look for guidance, and they'll find it in whether it's TV programs or drugs, alcohol, or even their friends then, because they want to be led. They are yearning for it. Now, not to say that the moms aren't doing a great job. Single moms or single parents growing up their kids, you guys are phenomenal. You're doing the best you can for your child. And I want to encourage that. I mean, you filling a male and a female role in the life of your child. But I think I'm touching on this. Careful not to steer the child so far away from being like their dad that they shy away from male companionship. And that's why Tatenda shared this. People then tend to join their friends, and sometimes they get influenced by the wrong friends. So we need to find good role male models, whether it's in the church, where in places where you can trust that man. Sometimes some of you've got siblings, so even your brothers can be role models to your children. So I'm talking uncle and nephew relationships here. Allow for uncles to come, take your kids, go and watch a sport. Whatever the man is doing, whether he's cleaning the yard, mowing the lawn, or anything that a man is doing, let the kid, the male child, join that person and learn from them, because it's about that balance. I think that will make a well-rounded man growing up. So it's not just a single-sided thing where it's just my mom is always there and my mom's always going to be there for me and nurture me. And now when you see the man, because he's fighting now, as he's growing up, he's also got these emotions and all of that. Here's mommy telling him, cry your heart out, child, be sensitive and all of that. And you wonder why he's resisting you. Mbali touched on something. Why is your child saying, Mom, leave me at the gate? Because he's trying to prove to himself that he is a man of himself. That little man in him is maturing, and he doesn't want to be seen as a mommy's boy. And most of us, unfortunately, we grow up predominantly with our mom's affection and our mom's love. We know moms are there, and it's bad when it feels like, the son is hurting the mom when he says, no, mom, leave me here. I want to do it myself, or let me be. It's because he's hardly had those male role models in his life. He's trying to find his own way. He's trying to become his own independent person. So I think what I'm going to end on this now. I've been speaking a lot. We need to encourage that whole male bonding. So what Masuli mentioned, uncle-nephew relationships, Tatenda touched on it. Find good role male models and take time, go and spend those times with them. You'll find if guys do that with other guys, whether it's fishing or sport, hobby, whatever it is, it allows the girls to do things with their girlfriends. And that space, it's healthy, because then when you come back, while the woman's gone on her spa day and full body massages and whatever else with their daughters, and the male is gone fishing with his friends or uncle or whoever it is, when you come back, you can share stories. Hey, mom, today I caught 5 fishes. You as a mom, you'll be proud of your son. Wow, my son, you're growing up to be a fine young man. And those are, it's just the way God created things. Man is man, woman are woman. There's certain things only a man can do with his son or with another male. A woman can try, but there's only certain things that a male can do with other males. Teach him how to drive, pick up everything. You'll find that emotionally he'll become a more balanced human being. And in not just a single way. Whenever I'm with my mom, I'm trying not to be like that. And some moms actually encourage that, and don't be like your father. So I think if I want to share this in this group and forum, if moms are doing that to their children, be careful of that. Watch out for that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to end on that. But thank you, guys. This is really awesome.
Valuable comments. Thank you. Mickey, let's hear you. So I want us to finish on time. So I'm looking at time as well. Hi, Mickey.
Bits and pieces of Hi. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Number one, thank you guys so much for putting this on. I've just come across it, go Facebook. I'm so excited. But there's quite a few things that's just kind of popped up. Number one, I just want to say thank you so much. Heartfelt thank you to Masuli. It takes bravery, it takes courage, and you're doing exactly what it is that this conversation is about. Because if people like you can get up out there, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, I mean it with all levels of respect. If a man that has gone through a lot can get up and say, this is what I've been through, this is how I've overcome it, and this is the benefits I'm reaping for the efforts and the investment I've put in self-development, trust and believe that you might not know it, but you've just taught somebody else how to go through their own route. You've just encouraged somebody that is here in this group that maybe is going through the same thing and doesn't know how to go about it or doesn't know the end part of it. So I genuinely want to say thank you to you. Your bravery is somebody's courage, and it really has touched not just myself, I'm sure a lot of us. The other thing that I want to touch on that Mark said, single parents, I'll speak to the women on here. I'll literally address the women on here. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yes, especially the moms to the sons. There's that thing, that chip we have on our shoulder where I want to show him I can do it by myself. I want to show him that I can bring the child that he's not bringing up, by so much so that you're cheating your son out of the man he needs to be. You're cheating your son out of the lessons he needs to learn. You're also missing the point where you have all the males around you that you should be focusing on to try and help you fuel up, nurture, grow this man that you're growing. As much as you want to stand there and want to go, I can do it by myself, there's a saying that says you can teach your son anything you want to do. A woman can never teach a boy how to piss standing. You can never teach your son how to wee standing. Only a man can do that. So we need to get over ourselves. We need to get over the fact that being a single parent is not the end of the world. Being a single parent is not a punishment, and it doesn't mean that you can't do certain things. We've seen our parents do it, we've seen our moms do it, but the attitude, we're in a world or a generation now where we genuinely believe that you know, I'm an independent woman. You can never be an independent woman for as long as you have a child. Independent majority of the time is based and focused on finances. But when it comes to bringing a child up, you need the support system. So independence where parenting is concerned, bin it. Just bin it. For the sake of our children, for the sake of our men, this is just for our women. Let's just stop it. You know, stop it. It's our sons we're hurting, and our daughters are gonna have the same husbands that we're running from. Our daughters are gonna have the same sons with the same dads that we're running away from. So it's our responsibility to change that. You don't need to like your baby daddy if you have a baby daddy situation, but you can work out how to parent. You know, there's systems in place that you can work out who has the child when, who has what input here. But you have male figures in your family as well. Let's just assume that maybe that dad figure is not there. The biological dad is not there. You've got uncles, you've got brothers, you've got neighbors. Use them wisely. You know, the support system is there, but you have to tap into it. Your vulnerability is not your weakness. So you have to put your child first. It's not about you. Your time is come and gone. It's about the son you are growing. So put your whole of that aside. So that's just something that really bugs me, because we turn to want to speak to the dads, but nobody ever addresses the woman. You know, it's not about you. It's the situation is not about you. The son is not about how good you look, how you've made a point to say you are the mom and I've done all of that. At the end of the day, your son's going to be a man. He's not going to be a woman, you know? So these are things that we really need to hammer on in terms of support that we want. We get on, I'm very strong on be the change you want to see. So it starts with us, you know, it starts with us. The other thing is in the back of what all the guys have been saying, it's been very eye-opening. I'm very privileged to be here, but looking at things like your self-development, let's start looking at things like acknowledging and validating your feelings. We do that as women, but let's start looking at how we support the men in doing that. It's a process that majority of the men don't know. They've never been in that situation. They don't even know what they're feeling like, you know, because if I'm mad, what am I mad at? What's gone wrong? What's gone missing? What's gone, you understand? But they won't know that because they've never been in this in the process. We grew up with friends. We grew up gossiping. We grew up talking about, oh, do you know, I feel so, you understand? Men don't have that. They don't have that. You know, that's it, you know? So we know the process in what it entails for us to be able to express ourselves. We know the platforms and the support we're accessing. So start with us again. Give the support that you know has helped you, give it. The same way Umelusi has told us what has helped him, then I know that if I have a situation like that, my starting point is what I heard from a certain somebody that went through that. You know, I'm not just starting blank. The other thing that you want to try and focus on in things like having a support system. So you need accountability. You can't expect to be the best you can be when there's nobody that's keeping you in check. So our men are very cool in hanging out with the guys. That's just the guys, and we're chilling and it's fun. But actually, who are you? Number one. How are you feeling? Number two. How are you doing? What are you doing? You know, who is there? Uskumba posted something the other day, and he said, of all the friends that you have around you, right here, right now, if kak hit the fan, who of your friends can you call and say, dude, help me? And they will jump over hoops to help you. These are things that you need to ask yourself. And sometimes those people come in the shape of the woman next to you or the woman around you It won't come from the bros and the gents that you meet at the corner, you know? So you have to be open to things like this. Find somebody that is a support system to you, no matter however way it looks like in a positive light. Find somebody that can keep you in check and keep you accountable for what it is that you want to achieve, the man it is you want to become. And that's just in life in general, whether business, whether being the person you want to be, whether be the dad you want to be. Because if you don't have that accountability, that's when you start, you know, when us mom starts doing, you're not here for your son, you start realizing you don't see it as somebody keeping you in check. You're seeing it as somebody that's annoying you. But if you back off a bit and hear it from the voice of somebody that is your support system, then you start seeing the difference in that. You know, we're learning from our struggles, we're learning from our mistakes. So whatever it is, learn the most of it, and make the most out of what it is, the situation that you're currently going through. And the last bit that I just want to really touch on, can we just learn to embrace our moments? You know, learn to embrace the situation that you're going through, because I cannot stand here and say to you, Ajo, like, you're making me look bad for crying. I can look bad for all its concern. If you have embraced the emotion, the breakdown, the intelligence in you, because our men do lack a lot of emotional intelligence, because it's never been part of what builds a man, you know? So we need to embrace, as a man, embrace it. And you know what? I'm not in the mood today, struggling, and I really need a bit of support. And don't hold it in. If that's what you need, say it. Say, name and shame the help that you need. So the person that's not willing to give you that is very much well aware when they walk away from you that they have failed you, you know? So I've got a whole list of stuff written down, but I'm just going to leave it here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Quite valuable points there that you're pointing out. And like I said before, hold space. That's very powerful. If we can learn that, if from today we go and practice just holding space and sitting with somebody else's emotions while they're going through, and being full acceptance, we would have gone, we would have stepped forward, a huge step forward. Yeah. So Pule.
Hi everybody, Mo, Mbali, thank you so much. I caught this last minute, so I'm catching the tail end of the conversation. I also heard a comment that you're saying you're pushing for time. So I'm trying to condense what is a very layered, very deep conversation. And I thank you guys. And I appreciate it as well, because we're trying to build each other, I suppose, as you know, since we're only living once, we've never done it before. You know, we don't have a book that tells us how to do. Okay, so where to start? I'm going to try cover a lot of things and be very concise. And I want to start maybe from the male perspective. So thank you from the platform, and you know, the whole being a man thing and raising kids. You know, lest we forget that our parents used to be boys and girls themselves. And I realized this after becoming a parent myself, that wait a minute. I had to have this switch go on overnight once my daughter was born. And I just needed to know what a father was and what a husband was and all of these things all in once, overnight, 24 hours. There's no prep time, you are there. And I realized over the years, and the challenge of raising a girl child or raising a child in general, that actually this is probably what my parents went through. The fact that there isn't any, you know, golden book that tells you what to do. You know, you're kind of figuring stuff out yourself. That being the case, I try to be very aware that there are some traumas that I may have experienced as a human being in my upbringing that lie deep in my subconscious that I need to unlearn and not spill over to my daughter. I needed to be aware of that, but also understanding that before we even go anywhere further, I also need to find what a definition of a man is to me, not to what culture says. So am I more of a man if I can change a flat tire on a car, or am I more of a man if my bank balance is yay high? Which would you have it? Or do I need to be both? What exactly is the man to me? And as part of the definition, we now need to understand that from generation to generation has been passing the baton. The thing about men being all strong and men being this and that, remember, especially in the history of this particular country, you know, the dark past that we've come from, right? And traditionally how, you know, the men go out there and they get jobs or they work late and whatever. And you'll find men from back in the day led with fear, right? That's your dad. You need to be afraid of your dad and you know, those kind of things. So those are like kind of things that we need to unlearn, that you don't need to be like that. You don't need to lead by fear. You know, I choose to have a servitude leadership, you know. So my role is, how do I create an environment for you to flourish as my family, as my woman, as my wife, as my daughter? I'm here for you to do that. I'm not here to put my legs up and order you around. You understand what I'm saying? It's those kind of things. So I think we need to define to ourselves, as boys having come into men and girls having come into women, what is that definition of that particular role that you play? And be open enough and be vulnerable enough to say, hey, baby, you know what? I'm actually not a cleaning kind of woman. I don't like cleaning. That's an issue for me. Don't judge me. But, you know, there's ways around that, you know. From a guy perspective as well, I don't know how to fix a broken cupboard, you know. Don't judge me for that. I've never had anybody to show me that kind of stuff. So I think the fear of judgment as well, you know, inhibits us from being totally open and honest, and remembering that, you know, as a boy and a girl growing up and trying to build whatever life we're trying to build together, we need to have those uncomfortable situations. Okay. So with the fear of judgment. Okay, okay, what else am I talking about? Oh yes, the important thing as well that I've realized over the years in marriage, and I know there's so many contexts that we are touching on. There's single parents, there's people who are married, there's, you know, all of these things. I realize that just because we can talk doesn't mean that we are able to communicate. Okay.
True.
Communication is something completely different. You know, I'll give you a classic of an example. If you ever shared your living space with somebody, somebody can come to you and say, you know, don't leave your socks on the floor. Oh, okay, well, okay, whatever, you know. A couple of days later, that's going to happen again. The socks is on the floor. Now, person A, who doesn't like socks being on the floor, things they have communicated that they don't like having socks on the floor. There was a full communication to them. But person B really doesn't get it until person A would maybe phrase it different and say, I don't like you leaving socks on the floor because it makes me feel like you don't appreciate me when I clean. It makes me feel like, you know, you consider me as something that I'm not, something that is less than. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, adding a layer of the why behind the dislike or the like of things, I think it's touching a key importance of that communication, to be able to get to a point where you actually start getting to a point where you actually understand one another as partners, or as two people that are trying to do something. It's the why behind what your statement is or your vulnerability point is. Okay, so communication is a very important thing. What's part of communication is also understanding the different love languages. And this doesn't apply to only couples or lovers, right? There's different love languages, ones that you also need to understand what your child's love language is. Now there's 5 of them. Your child may not like touching and hugging, you know, if you've got more than one child. So you can't necessarily treat them the same, right? You need to understand what makes this one tick and what makes that one tick, and what doesn't make your partner tick. Maybe your partner doesn't like flowers. Maybe your partner doesn't like expensive gifts. Maybe all your partner likes to do is just, you know, be asked, hey, I'm making a cup of tea, would you like some? You know, there's so much that's part of communication that's so important, that maybe these are the small cracks that make us kind of lose direction and lose what the core of the issues that we may experience actually are. And all of this is a work in progress. There's nobody that's perfect, but if we start trying to be aware and having uncomfortable conversations, maybe we can get to a better place. Also, living in the world that we're living in, where is the balance of readying your child for a very cold world versus spoiling your child? Right? I think that is very different. That is very difficult. I mean, how do you make sure that your child is resilient enough to go face the world on their own without you, versus you doing too much for them and spoiling them? I think that there isn't a one answer to that thing. There's a lot of things, that comes to that. And I think maybe in closing, it's just on the top of my head, guys. Sorry if there's no structure, but because of time, I'm just trying to squeeze everything that I can. I think on the point that the previous lady was mentioning in terms of, I'm going to rephrase and say maybe the people that you confide in, or when you do have that support structure, I think what's important is that make sure that the people you confide in, sometimes, when you confide in people, or when people are close to you, they're giving you a reflection of yourself through their eyes. And I think what's important is that we need to be careful that when people describe how they see us, that we are not taking that reflection from a broken mirror. So what I'm trying to say is, how people see you, the context of how they see you, or the basis from what they see you, may be skewed because of the things that they've been through and they're not even aware. And now you're confiding in a person who's going to, sort of either maybe give you the wrong advice or give you, the wrong direction that you are going to take to heart. But all of that was in a wrong way, or the most messed up way, because they themselves are a broken mirror. So you're looking at your reflection in somebody who's also broken. And you're never going to get something accurate from that. And we need to be careful about that. And I think the last point I want to touch on, sorry, I'm so all over the place. As a married guy, as a man, trying to find this definition of what a man is. Now you get into marriage and you figure, I'm the man, I should have a plan, I should figure everything out. And so what we men do, I think initially, is we see how women, and this is maybe like a subconscious decision, but let me put it this way. Your wife, I would like to offer this to you. Your wife is not a damsel in distress, right? She wasn't always a mom. She wasn't always a wife. She was this independent woman when you met her. She was a strong woman when you met her. And then overnight, she had to put on 100 different hats, just like you had to. So you stopped being a boyfriend or a fiance. Overnight, you had to be a business partner. You had to be a lover. You had to be a career person. You had to be a friend. You had to be a daughter. You had to be all of these hats overnight after you said, I do. And so while we're trying to figure this out in a mess, as a man now operating under the wrong definition of what a man is, I'm like, okay, the woman is the woman, and I'm have to have the world on my shoulder and carry everything myself. But realize that your woman is not a damsel in distress. She's actually right next to you in the battlefield, reloading your weapon. You have to look at her as that you don't have to you don't have to think that you have to solve every single problem. Sometimes you can get there, baby, you know what? Here's the issue. I don't know what we're going to do about it. And believe me, she will offer something to you that is just as invaluable as you having figured something out yourself. So invite her and be vulnerable enough to actually admit to yourself that you are not Superman. And this woman is right there next to you as an equal and as a partner, and you are chasing the same vision and goal. And so, yeah, that was my 2 cents to guys when it comes to women.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for the platform, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And just one last hand that was up. Then we wrap up. Quick, please. I'm going to do this if I see that, because you promised to be short. If you don't keep to your promise, I'm going to do this. Then
you're taking my time, Moneeloa. You're taking my time. Good evening. I'm going to be they're giving me 1 minute. I'm going to stick to my 1 minute. I just want to say that thank you for the platform, Annie, and ladies and gentlemen. But one thing that I want to just share with you is that I've realized, or I'm learning actually, that parenting is a ministry.
It is.
You are a minister. And in being a minister, you teach, you rebuke, you lead by example, you know. Yes. So a lot of times we tend to be in a space whereby you do what I say, but not what I do. But you cannot minister in absentia. So you have to be present in a boy child's life. You have to be present in let me just say your child's life. And as Mika was saying, that as women, we should not get to a point where we want to punish the other partner who has left, whom we are against, and all. Because if you take a branch from the tree and you try to use it to beat something, that branch will not remain the same. There's something that is being done as well that is damaging to the child, if you're going to use the child to beat up the other party, you know. So we have to get to a place of what? Being united in terms of parenting, but above all, minister in your own ability. You are given the grace to minister as a mother to your child. You are given the grace to minister as a father. You will not do both, and hence we have uncles and everyone that is around us to be able to take their rightful position as a society, as neighbors, you know, and be able to raise that child. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm on time.
Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for everyone that came on, and yes, it takes a village to raise a child. Really, it does take a village to raise a child. And we're wrapping up. I'm going to give to Misuli, then from Misuli to Mbuso, then to Mbali, then I'll wrap up our evening. So guys, even in your wrap up, so that we are on time, we don't offend people's time.
All right. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but okay. But yeah, no, firstly, because I don't think I did mention it, but thank you so much, Mbali, for inviting me to this platform. Thank you, Moneeloa, and everyone else for giving me the opportunity to actually share my story and share my thoughts on this platform. So yeah, let's go out there and change the world. You know, we cannot change anyone, everybody, but it always starts with that one person. And yeah, they can pass it on. You know, it's all about passing it on. Thank you so much.
Mbuso?
Thank you so much. Just to be part of this talk was absolutely amazing. I've learned so much myself. I think there was things that were said, finding a good male role model, which is a sign that there are still good men out there that we can allow our kids to consult and just sit with and talk with and do activities with. You also mentioned something about conscious parenting that is so important. That is so important, intentional parenting. So yeah, I've learned so much. I think in closing, knowing who you are. I know it's a journey to discover who it is that you are, but let's try and find out who we are as boys, as men, and then we'll make mistakes on the way, yes, but we won't be swayed to doing the wrong things easily.
Thank you. Amen. Mbali?
Thank you very much for this platform. It's been such a wonderful turnout, the stuff that we learned today. And I just want to say a special thank you to Misuli. Misuli and I have been having this conversation from 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, we've been meaning to talk about this. We've been meaning to be in this platform. So yes, I'm really grateful, and thank you, Misuli, for just when I reached out to him, he was available to talk. And I also just want to thank the people here, Zanele, the sisters and the brothers that have supported us really, to also just acknowledge Mark has always been there to talk to you at the office, and also just to acknowledge the men in my life, the men that have made me the woman that I am today. My son's father, Taban Katlane. I want to thank everyone, those who have supported me, to remember that we don't do this by ourselves. Alone, we can never achieve anything, but with other people, we can rise. With other people's strength, we climb higher. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us and for your time. And yeah, from my heart to yours, have a wonderful good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Tatenda, your hand, I don't know whether your hand is up, you want to say something, or you were saying,
yes, I just want to say a quick comment. Oh my gosh, oh yes. So it was just that a boy's opinion should be acknowledged, and because one day their opinion will be, as most would call it, the last word of the household. Because so already putting them at that platform to be able to be a leader. So to mothers, asking, even fathers, asking your child, especially the male child, what do you think about this? What do you think we should do? And actually applying it, because that will mean that their wisdom, their opinion matters. And that's something guys really love, actually. So,
thank you. Thank you. Yes, I can attest to that. That's something all children actually want to be involved. They want to co-create. We know as leaders at work that if you want buy-in, if you want your employees to buy in, or if you want buy-in of anyone, they need to be part of the creation, right? And it's exactly what Tatenda is saying. Let's involve our kids. Let's make them part of the decision making. And that also empowers them to be able to make decisions for themselves, to solve their own problems. So thank you so much. This is the end of our evening. There's so many takeaways. From my side, I am a parent coach. I teach a course that is called Parent Effectiveness Coaching, that I got introduced to when I was working for Momentum. I would like to give them that unpaid marketing. Momentum, I was struggling with my child, and my manager said, go attend this course. And it changed the course of my parenting perspective and parenting experience. In that course, you will learn how to effectively listen, conscious listening, how to listen for understanding, how, like Tatenda was saying, how to come downstairs to your child's level and talk to them at their level so that they can go upstairs with you. Third, you are able to then have that co-creation relationship with them. And like I said in the course of our conversation, if you want to influence, if you want to make an impact, the foundation of it is connection and relationship. It was mentioned so many times, spending time, right? Part of connection is just that check-in. It creates connection. Letting you be creates connection. So in PET, Mbali has done it. We'll talk about it in one of our conversations. It teaches you all of those, how to also resolve conflict in a way that does not attack the child's confidence, the self-esteem. Pule talked about effective communication, how to address a behavior that you don't like. And we have that too. You address the behavior, the feeling, and the impact that it has on you. You will learn all those things. So if you're ready to go on that journey of self-development as a parent, your journey to change your perspective and change the course of the river for yourself and the generation to come, do give me a call, do contact me. My number is 078-739-2392. I'll put it in the box. And I'm actually starting a course next week. If you move on time, if you move quickly, then you can be part of that group that I'm starting with next week, Wednesday. So we will, the next topic is going to be conscious parenting. We had come with a different topic, but I think it's very fitting to go back and lay the foundation properly. Then we'll talk about what is conscious parenting, what is gentle parenting, and what does it mean to us as Black people? Because other people have jumped on it for a long time now. We are playing catch up as African people, as Black people. So we will share with you, it will probably be the 24th of March, but we will share with you the dates and the times, and we look forward to having you in that conversation. Thank you and good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye. Bye, bye, bye,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I'm so amazing. Like, I'm so excited. You're doing great, girl.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for your input. Quite valuable, Mickey.
Thank you. I try now and again. Oh my God, this is so how do you then advertise? Because I'm trying not to speak while you have your people here. Anyway, that's fine. I think I've got your number. I'll try and get your number from the chat, and then I'll get in touch.
Yeah. Then I'll also just DM you. Then we can chat.
Oh yeah, there's that as well. I forgot. Yeah, I've got on
Sure.
social. So yeah, let's catch up on something.
Cool.
Right, nice to see you guys. Great to meet you, Mbali.
Nice to meet you, my baby. Thank you so much for your input.
No worries. All right then. Bye.
Bye. Moneeloa, can you remove the other people from the?
Yeah, I'll just give them space to log off.
How still wants to be us?
In case someone maybe is waiting for people to go if they want to say something. So just holding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's rather wait for that. How? Are you still with us? So you forgot to, or you forgot you fell asleep?
So we can give him if there's nothing, then yeah, we can close the space.
Yeah.
It's connecting to audio.
Who's connecting to audio?
Maybe let's close the meeting, then we can catch up.
Wait. Let's hear who's this. Who's connecting to audio? Hey, Larson. Oh my word. Hey, how are you? Sorry, the meeting just ended.